Hello everyone, and welcome to my CS24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The Curse of Oak Island. Team learns a new theory connecting the Ark of the Covenant to the island. This week on The Curse of Oak Island, the team learned of a previous landowner with connections to the Freemasons, who may have sought out the Ark of the Covenant on the island. Digging at the money pit is still in full swing, and the team is hopeful that shaft number 4, DMT2, is narrowing in on the chapel vault. But this week on Oak Island, the most interesting action was actually happening on Lot 8 and in the war room. As the guys have expanded their search around the island, they started to make some interesting observations about Lot 8 on the west of the island. This area has never been inhabited, which adds to air of mystery surrounding it. Last year, surveyors performed an underground survey of Lot 8, which indicated that there was a large metal object buried under the ground. And just last week, ground-penetrating radar indicated the possible presence of a shaft at 20 feet below the surface. Gary Drayton's metal detector has also picked up several old artifacts. These factors, combined with Zena Halpern's map of the island, which was allegedly created by Templar Knights and points to a mysterious hatch in the vicinity, all led to Marty Lagina trundling into Lot 8 with a mini digger. The Nova Scotian government had given the guys a permit to dig down 5 feet, better than nothing. But if they found evidence of human activity within those 5 feet, then they could apply for another permit to dig deeper. Unfortunately, Gary didn't detect any metal. He had been hoping for a nice jewelry box, but they did find what looked like a paved area just under the surface. It also appeared as though somebody had purposefully refilled a hole or shaft with rocks. Will it be enough to get a permit for further exploration? The guys hope so. Researcher has new theory connecting Oak Island to the Ark of the Covenant. Meanwhile, in the war room, Oak Island researcher and Freemason Scott Clark was back with a stunning new theory. He had examined a brooch that the team found 3 years ago, and he reckoned it was not a brooch at all, but one of 12 jewels from the breastplate of a Masonic high priest. There's more. Scott has identified Melbourne M.R. Chappell, a former Oak Island landowner and son to famous treasure hunter William Chappell, as a Freemason. The Freemasons are suspected of being descended from the Templar Knights, who the guys believe may have buried ancient religious relics on the island. Scott believes that the younger Chappell may have been conducting an ancient ritual used in ancient times to locate no less an item than the Ark of the Covenant. He was unable to tell the guys if Mr. Chappell was looking for the ancient relic or if he had it stowed somewhere on the island. Needless to say, the guys will investigate further. What's happening at the Oak Island money pit? At the money pit, drilling in the DMT2 shaft continued at breakneck speed. The guys are following in the footsteps of Owen Hamilton's dig of 1940 and Gilbert Hedden's dig of 1937, both of whom excavated deep shafts in the area. Hedden got to a depth of about 124 feet before running out of funds, but he was convinced that the chapel vault lay 30 feet further down. Last night's episode saw the guys basically follow the Hedden shaft down to 120 feet, where they came across a large metal sheet, which was Hedden's protective shield. As summer heat lingers over Nova Scotia and the wind teases the trees on Oak Island, the latest episode of The Curse of Oak Island delivers one of the most jaw-dropping moments in the history of the series. After years of chasing artifacts, exploring tunnels, and analyzing ancient documents, the team is now presented with a theory so bold, so mythic, that it just might reshape the entire quest. It all begins when Rick Lagina receives a mysterious package at the war room. Inside, a weathered manuscript, ink faded but still legible, bound in leather that smells of history. Along with it is a note from an independent researcher named Elias Marin, an archaeologist and biblical historian who has spent the last 2 decades tracing the movements of the Ark of the Covenant. Elias claims to have uncovered clues that point not to Jerusalem, Ethiopia, or France, but instead to a tiny storm-ridden island in the North Atlantic, Oak Island. Rick ever the skeptic but open to every possibility, calls the team together. Craig Tester, Marty Lagina, Charles Barkhouse, and archaeologist Miriam Amaralt all gather in the war room as Elias joins via video call from Jerusalem. He's standing beside a replica of the Ark itself, golden and glowing in the warm light of his office. The theory, Elias begins, is not just about treasure, it's about sanctuary. I believe the Ark was moved out of Jerusalem during the Babylonian siege. Through a network of Templar hands and secretive Jewish sects, it traveled through Europe and across the Atlantic. The final resting place? Beneath the very soil you're standing on. Gasps follow. Gary Drayton, already twitching with anticipation, mutters, "That would be the find of the millennium." Elias proceeds to outline his evidence, a 13th century Latin manuscript referencing a Sanctus Arca being transported across the edge of the world to the isle between sea and shadow. This document, recently recovered from a Jesuit archive in northern Spain, also features a symbol shockingly similar to the Templar cross found carved into the stones of Nolan's cross. The connection grows even stronger when Elias shares a map. It's ancient, its parchment cracked and stained, but clear enough to show a crude drawing of Oak Island's outline. At the center, a golden chest with radiating lines marked Lucerna Dei, Latin for Lamp of God. "That could be the Ark," Charles Barkhouse murmurs, leaning forward with fascination. But theories are only as strong as the proof they can produce, and Marty, ever practical, wants boots on the ground and metal in the earth. The team moves quickly, zeroing in on the location Elias pinpoints, a triangular patch of land between the swamp, the Money Pit, and Smith's Cove. They nickname it the Sanctuary Triangle. Gary, armed with his trusty metal detector, begins sweeping the area. Just minutes into the search, he gets a hit, a strong one. He kneels, starts digging, and soon uncovers a heavy, tarnished metal object, a ceremonial handle, ornately engraved with Hebrew lettering. Marty calls over Miriam, who carefully lifts it and begins cleaning away the dirt. "I think this is bronze," she says. And the inscription, it's not just Hebrew, it's ancient. Pre-Second Temple era. The object is sent for testing, and in a matter of days, the lab confirms it dates to approximately 600 BCE. The possibility that this artifact, bearing resemblance to ritualistic handles found in ancient Israeli excavations, made it to Oak Island is hard to believe. And yet, there it is. Rick, whose belief in a deeper meaning to the search has never wavered, is visibly moved. "If the Ark really did come here," he says, "then maybe this was never just about gold. Maybe it was about preserving something sacred."